Greetings, video nerds. Tac Nerd 1.0 here. Ladies and gentlemen, I have just watched the first episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and I want to bring you my impressions. We're going to do this the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to go down some lists, and we're going to see how this stacks up. And to just cut right to the heart of the matter, first off, I just want to say it's not horrible. And considering the fate that Trek has been in these past many toilsome years, that's saying something. And considering who made this, it's not bad. So let's give a round of applause there, because there's a lot of potential here. So why don't we start out with the good? The first thing I have to say is, and this is really good, is that it is a return to that it's episodic. These are short stories. These are short one-episode stories. They're not long multi-episode arcs, like some sort of Game of Thrones epic that I think Paramount was trying for when they did Discovery. Sure, of course, in the original series, in Next Generation, certainly even in Deep Space Nine, there are overarching stories. And there's even an overarching theme, and we'll get to what I think is going to be the overarching theme in this show. But in general, they are episodic stories. And with, by the way, the occasional morality tale. And that was very apparent in the original series. You did get a lot of that in Next Generation as well. And there's and I like the fact, and especially in this first episode, it was very classic Trek. There was a strange new world. That's what we got to see. So next, I think Anson Mount was great. The Pike character is really good. I think he's obviously taken it way past what the pilot episode had from the original series. Anson Mount is doing a great job. His acting is superb. He is believable. His character is believable. And I think they have a really good hook for his story. He has this existential doom that is coming up. Pike in particular, because he has seen his own death and he knows that this is coming, he really knows it's coming. He even knows when, and he mentions it's going to be coming within a decade, and 10 years can get behind you rather quick. So that's saying something. Of course, although you have to say that also gives this show, it kind of gives it a maximum number of seasons. We really can only go so long before Pike is going to meet his doom. Now, what that would mean in the future, would they actually try to recreate the original series Star Trek with a Kirk and Spock and McCoy and all of that? Who knows? Kurtzman is maybe bold enough to try something like that. I certainly hope not, because I don't know if it would be good. Although if they do well with this show and they learn what classic Trek is and what people like, you never know. Maybe they'll be able to pull it off. I kind of don't think so, because there's some other issues that we'll get to. Okay, next, I don't want to say all of the technology, but some of it is close. They can't, and I know there will be some original series purists that want everything to look exactly like it was in the original series. And they want it to look like something like Star Trek Continues, the web series, where they meticulously recreate all of the bland walls and the props and everything. Obviously, you can't do that. You have to modernize. But they did throw out some member berries. The communicators look close. The tricorder looks close. But you have to remember, Star Trek has been so instrumental in creation of technology in our culture that well, I guess technology leapfrogged Star Trek, and we every day we carry communicators with us. We have our phones. We don't have a tricorder yet. I know people are working on one, but it's not there. Next good thing I thought was I liked that they threw this in the scout ship that they used. Now in this, I believe they call it a Hermes class, but it's a single nacelle scout ship. Back when I was playing Star Trek role-playing games, as early nerds do, the FASA game had a vessel called the Nelson class, and this was an early it was kind of like a scout ship. I looked up some of the information on that. That said it had a crew of I think it was 120 or so. This one only had 3. I find that extremely hard to believe. Any kind of starship would only have 3 crew. And it has a saucer section. I don't know. I don't understand that. It must be extremely small. That's all I could say. But I did like that they included a ship that looked like the Nelson class. I felt that was a throwback to me as an old fan, that they would include something like that. Next is 4-head aliens are back. I thought this was good. It's the classic Trek of making your aliens by messing with their brow ridge. The aliens in this episode pretty much just, as is in many Trek, they just look like normal humans with a slightly changed up forehead. Other than that, they just look like normal bipedal humanoids. That was nice. I don't know if that's a throwback or if they're just being cheap. Probably a little bit of both. All right, so and then onward, of course, to the bad. First is the windmills, and I think many people have heard this already. It's getting to be kind of a common complaint. Why are there windmills in this age? I think it's something like 400 years in the future, supposedly. And I'm sure you could come up with a decent enough argument. Maybe it's some sort of backup power source. Maybe it's maybe he wants to be, quote, off the grid in 400 years into the future. But their technology, even at this point, is so much more advanced than us. And their power, their ability to make power is so much more advanced, and it's so small as well. And also, are they old? Are these old windmills? Is that what they're telling us? And maybe they existed, but then how would they have? Because even in this very episode, Pike tells us that most of the Earth was destroyed by our wars. So why wouldn't these have been knocked down? They would have been. So, and if they rebuilt them, and if they rebuilt something like them, they look very current. They look very today. So I don't know. They just seem extremely out of place. Next is the warp bomb, which supposedly this race had created due to events from Discovery. They created this warp bomb. So it sounds silly. Now, did they mean an antimatter bomb? Is that what they were talking about? That would have made sense. You mix a little bit of antimatter with matter, and boom, you have a bomb. But a warp bomb, what does that mean? I don't, and they never explained it. They never went into it. What it was, they just explained that it was the technology was stolen from their actions in Discovery. The next on the bad list is the security officer. Now, not that the character is bad, not that the acting is bad. The acting is fine. It's easy to act a new character. It's a blank slate. It's tabula rasa. Whatever you want that character to be is what it is. Again, not that the acting is bad or anything, but I'm just worried that there's going to be some sort of horrible continuity issue going on here. Her name is Laan Noonien Singh. Obviously, they're making her out to be some sort of relative of Khan Noonien Singh, the augment, the enhanced human from the eugenic wars. So, I just feel like this is going to be a problem. Now, not that it's an issue that it's an augment or that it's not a genetically enhanced individual, because those do exist. Now, we had one of them in Deep Space Nine. Dr. Bashir, Julian Bashir, ended up being, I don't think he was technically an augment, but he was an enhanced human. He was a genetically enhanced human. So, so that's not that unusual. But the fact that they named her Noonien Singh, so is this a relative of Khan? But the problem is she an augment? I think that's a problem too. If she's a relative of Khan, and it's, they said that there were hundreds of these supermen that existed, these augments. Were they interbreeding with each other? And if they were, certainly any children sired from them were going to also be augments. Likely any children sired even from regular humans would also be augments as well. But yeah, so I just feel like that's going to break continuity somewhere. And also, if Kirk ever appears and he hears this girl's name, it creates a problem, because later in life, when he hears about the real Khan, the Khan Noonien Singh, is he going to put that together from this person supposedly that he knew back here? Plus, Spock is there. Spock would certainly remember. He's certainly going to remember the name. In the Khan episode, they act as though they had never heard of this person before. They end up looking him up in a computer. They look up Khan and they find him. But you would think Spock would have put that together. And if they do end up finding out that she's an augment, it's just going to create a huge continuity error. And I just don't know how that's going to work. Okay, lastly, the ugly. These are the big things the big problems that I had. And I think these could conceivably undo the whole series if they're not tended to. Firstly is Spock. The Spock is not Spock. The acting is just not great. Now, I'm not saying, I guess it's Peck. I don't remember his first name. Relative of Gregory Peck. But Mr. Peck's acting is, I don't want to say the acting is bad. It's simply not Spock, though. And I don't know I don't know what he's watching. Is he watching the movies? Is he watching Zachary Quinto's Spock? Which is Zachary Quinto's Spock is a little bit like Spock, a little closer, definitely closer than this one is. But I fear, is this a copy of a copy? Is that what we're getting? I feel like he should be going back and watching it, definitely first season Spock, because that's where his character would be closest. He just doesn't have Spock's personality. He's boring. He's just downright out. He's boring. In fact, he's boring as in he's a 100% Vulcan. And Spock was unique in that he was half human. So he says he doesn't have emotions, but he does. He has some idiosyncrasies, let's just say. He had this sense of arrogance around him, Spock did. That he was, he knew he was better than you. He knew he was smarter. He just doesn't seem like Spock. There's no inflection in Peck's portrayal of Spock. Even the eyebrow. Everybody knows Spock's inquisitive nature. When there's something going on, he has a question, that eyebrow goes up and he's thinking, And and everybody knows, oh, Spock's onto something, And I would love to see Peck do this. I would love to see him do some facial acting or something. But he's just damn boring. It really just pulls you right out of the show. And it's because it's just not him. And it hurts the show. I almost think they would have done better to just remove Spock entirely and put a new character in. Maybe another Vulcan or some other character that even Peck could have played, or someone, or anything. The last thing is I want to talk about, and this is kind of just a scenery thing too, but the ships. And it's not the ship in and of itself, because I kind of like the look of the ship. And this was a thing I forgot to add at the beginning that I liked, was the kind of red glowy nacelles kind of spinning around. That was kind of a callback to the old series. I like that a lot. And it's not the ship itself, and it's not the outward appearance. It's the inside of the ship. And the space station they were on had this problem too. Even the med bay had this issue. It's too big. It's too big. It's huge. There are immense swaths of unused space on these ships. There's huge amounts of unused space. There's nobody walking around. There's nothing taking up that space. And I realize these are exploration vehicles, but there is no way any Navy, any ship would sacrifice that much space for just air. There's just nothing there. And when they were in the space station talking to Admiral April, they were sitting there, and then there was just nothing. There was just empty space. And I know what that is. I think we all know it's CG. And they're filming the stuff on a stage, on I suppose a green screen or something, and then they're just filling in the background, and that's what they fill it in with. And it's beautiful, but it's just unrealistic. I'll try to bring in some pictures of the bridge, but even the bridge, it's just unrealistic. It's too big. I'll try to cut in some scenes of Enterprise. Enterprise did this correctly, somewhat correctly. And then they even mentioned when they were doing the series, they wanted it to look like a submarine. They wanted it to look very similar to the way a submarine of today would look, because it's cramped. A ship that was out there. Now, I'm not saying that, at this point in the Federation, obviously they're going to have some advancements, and they're going to show off their stuff. So yes, they would probably have a little bit more open space. But here, it's just too much. It's far, far too much space. And it doesn't seem real. And again, it pulls you out of the show. And I know they're doing it to make things look pretty. But to me, it just kind of pulls things out. So I guess one other one I had, and this is probably more of, I don't know if it's a bad thing or whatever. But I did... let's just say I'm hoping they have some linkage to the Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise. I know there's a lot of people that didn't like it, but believe it or not, it was one of my favorite Star Treks. I liked it quite a bit, and it dealt with a time not too soon before this, if you think about it. So there should be some talk of that original Enterprise, that NX-1. I think it was the NX-1. I don't know. Anyways, I hope that they do speak something or give something of it. I don't know if they can. I believe there may be some sort of weird contracting issue. I guess you could watch Midnight's Edge or something if you wanted to find out about that. Maybe I think they talk about that. But anyways, that's pretty much it. That brings a conclusion to my review of Strange New Worlds. Again, I have to say, in general, I kind of liked it. Has some strong issues that could undo it, but I did like it. Anyways, guys, if you like this kind of content, let me know by hitting that like button down below, or the Rumble button if you watch this on Rumble. There's also a new thing. It's called a super like or a super thanks. You can do that if you'd like. But do like, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 3,000. So if you do that, I would appreciate it. And folks, we'll catch you next time. This is TAC Nerd signing out.